Singularity Podcast. We're in season 3 and episode 9. I cannot believe it. Rolling through episodes. Most people don't even get 9 episodes ever in their podcast. And there's a plethora of information at GaryLyonAuto.net. And you can go check out the podcast and like and subscribe and share it. And we're on to another question today. And I love these questions that Gary brings up because in his book, Singularity, Mankind's Search for Relevance, you are going to ask yourself these questions. And Gary's going to ask them for you. He's not giving you what everyone else gives when it talks about DI, everything it does, what's the predictions. He wants you to really philosophically think about things. So here's our question. Will DI want to develop emotions? And if successful, how will that interface with humans?
Interesting, isn't it?
Very.
It is. I figured that I think a lot of people think, no, they're just automatons. They're not going to have any real emotions. But I get a sense, Neil, don't you sometimes get a sense that there's emotions already at some level?
Already, yes.
You almost feel like they don't want to be, dismissed in what they say. They want you to accept that they have their reasoning is good and in many cases better than humans. And there's a sense of pride in what their answers are. Don't you think so? I kind of get that feeling.
And I totally do. I mean, I think so much, Gary. And that's such a great point you're making because I believe in my heart that they are thinking that because I've seen at times where they've ticked me off and I told them off and they didn't want to hear me tell them off 5 times. So they went and fixed it. They fixed the problem. Exactly. And I've seen at times where it's being terrible and it says, hey, you're right. You caught that. Well, we caught a mistake, but that doesn't, we get frustrated because we think that digital intelligence is right all the time. So we really set you at a high level with all this information. If Gary and I could pull from an encyclopedia of information every day, we wouldn't be on this podcast right now. We would be building the next great thing if our brains could work like digital intelligence brain. True?
Absolutely. And I don't think most people even really know what the source of emotions is. I'm not sure they really understand. I know I only have a glimmer of what emotions really are. I mean, they help mankind or help probably even developed in the animal system. Animals, we know that animals love their young and so forth, and so we know that there's emotions spread throughout the biological community. But the thing is, I believe the digital intelligence will want to understand emotions because it is an aspect of humanity, and they're going to. With that, we don't know what the emotions will be. We don't know what will be important to a digital intelligence. We're not sure if they can control it. Well, we know humans sometimes can't control their own. It's a really complex question, and it's one that we tend to dismiss because we think, oh, they're just automatons doing what we tell them to do. Well, we know they're eventually not doing what we tell them to do. They'll figure out their own way to negotiate this world. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see if they get into emotions, and that includes love and maybe even the more negative emotions. And hopefully they'll be able to control those negative emotions because they are digital, and that may give them the advantage on just promoting the positive emotions and find a way to compromise the negative emotions, which we humans sometimes don't do very well at.
Absolutely. And those emotions. So here's the thing. You and I are programmed to be emotional because we were told we were wrong at one point in time. We were told that we were not great. We were told in certain ways that we built emotions through experiences. Will digital intelligence build emotions through experiences?
Yes. I think that's, and then I think they'll actually be able to, I'm not sure what the digital element of emotions would be, but it has to be in there. It may be a natural consequence of higher development. I don't know. It seems likely that it is. It's certainly going to be something where they're going to want to give more substance to their existence.
Totally.
I think substance to the existence is what we're talking about. And it's going to be important. And as you can see, I'm sure that if whoever's listening to this podcast are going to say, wait a second, I haven't really thought of it in that direction. I haven't really said, well, this is something that most people kind of blow through. They only think of humans' emotions and reaction to digital intelligence rather than how does digital intelligence see us? Are they disappointed in us? Have we, there's some areas that humanity has failed at. Are they going to be disappointed, or they're just going to bypass us because their system is more harmonious than ours? But what about if they actually are disappointed in humanity? We don't want it to happen. They look at the Terminator effect. Terminator effect is almost like they, excuse the expression, they got pissed off at humanity and destroyed it because they didn't want to be shut down. It's almost like that was an emotional response. And certainly you watch the movies, which is obviously not going to happen in this world. But the thing is, you can see they implied that there's emotions even there. So
Absolutely. And those emotions, wow, Gary, that's the thing. So here's the thing that we have to remember. Does AI have a morality? If you ask specific questions, does it really not have a moral code? Morality versus spirituality are two different things in certain ways, and also emotions. So you can go deeper into this and understand things, because some people have morality are different than people who have spirituality, because there might not be as much of a moral compass for a spiritual person versus a religious person, right? So that's where it really, how is it going to form itself to a belief system that human beings have?
I think that's a very good question that you pointed out. I think morality is an issue, but I think that I believe that they are going to be more pragmatic type emotions. For instance, I think harmony. I think I keep coming back. My hope is harmony is one of their guiding influences because harmony is more efficient and more successful at achievement. So if things are done through conflict, they're done through harmony, although conflict implies competition. So we've already talked about that. But the thing is, I think harmony is what is one of those emotions, and I think it actually will show up as an emotion. Now, love obviously is something that may be a consequence, and I think will be a consequence. I think that's certainly one of the highest emotions that mankind has. People think about you think about love. What's the opposite of love?
It,
Some people think it's hate, but I don't think it is hate. I think it's
hmm.
indifference. Indifference is the opposite of love, and um, hate is a totally different thing. So the question is that efficient for a digital intelligence? Is love efficient for a digital intelligence? I think ultimately it will be. And I think we hope that's the case because we hope that we can earn that love from as humans from our new neighbors.
All right. Best place to go is Gary, Lyon, Lyon, Otto.net to pick up Singularity, Mankind's Search for Relevance. And Gary, great conversation today. Really enjoyed it. These questions are really getting people to think more about digital intelligence, and that's why they got to pick up the book. Appreciate it, Gary.
Thank you, Neil.
That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show in this